Well, good morning. So my watch is telling me it's 9:40, so let's get started with this presentation. My name is Christoph. I'm CEO of ScaleUp Technologies out of Germany. And the title of my presentation is Building a Sustainable Business Around the OCP, the Open Compute Project. But let me first give you a quick intro about myself and our company Scaleup. So we are a managed hosting, cloud and co-location provider based in Germany. Well, we were founded in 1998, so we are 25 years old at this point, which is quite something. Since around 2015, we've been offering infrastructure as a service offerings based on OpenStack, also including later on a managed Kubernetes platform on top of OpenStack. So we've been using open source software tools for a long time, ever since we deployed our first server in '98, which was a Windows machine. Soon after that, we started shifting to Linux, and ever since we've been using open source. We have teams located in Hamburg and Berlin, Germany, so in the northern part of Germany, where we also have a few data center sites. And as I said, we are strongly focused on open source. And for the last couple of years, we've also looked a bit more in depth at our company in order to become more sustainable. So we try to see what we can do from our side to help the environment and become a bit greener. So early this year, we became a community member in the Open Compute Foundation, and we've also became a partner in the OCP Solution Provider Program. To give you some more details on how this all happened and how we actually stumbled upon OCP, it was just about 3 years ago, pretty much, and it was a good friend of mine who approached me and asked me whether I would be interested in acquiring some Facebook servers. And at that point in time, I didn't know what he was really talking about. So I asked him, well, what's a Facebook server? And I went online, I asked Google, and I read about OCP. Basically, to cut that story short, it all sounded very interesting, so we decided to order one of these small racks that you can see on the screen, which are also shown by Eric on the expo floor. So it's like a small rollable mobile rack housing up to 4 OCP servers. So we ordered one of these through IT Renew back then and tested around a bit with the servers. And at least my colleagues, my technical team was happy with what they saw. So we, shortly after we had those servers, decided to build a bigger testing scenario, and we decided to actually order 2 full racks of OCP servers in order to try and use them for our infrastructure as a service offering based on OpenStack. So this is how we actually started. And looking at OCP and sustainability, we found a few things on the internet mentioning that OCP servers are more sustainable, use less energy. However, it was rather difficult to find definite numbers and facts and details about that. So we decided to test ourselves. So what we did back then was we set up a small testing setup with OCP servers and some 19-inch based Intel servers. We configured the servers completely the same, so they had the same CPU, same amount of RAM, same network, everything, and did a side-by-side comparison, and we concluded that an OCP server, and just looking at a single server, is using 15 to 20% less energy than the comparable 19-inch server. And well, coming from Germany with very high energy prices, that was certainly quite interesting for us. Also, a few other benefits that we stumbled upon, that the servers are not dependent that much on a low temperature, so temperatures can actually be a bit higher in the data center using OCP servers. And I think Eric showed it 2 presentations ago here. He showed a picture of an OCP server and a Dell 19-inch server. And from that picture, it's easily seen that an OCP server is using much, much less material than a traditional 19-inch server. So that also goes a bit into the whole sustainability topic. And therefore, the server is using, or is having less Scope 3 emissions. So what did we do with the servers? We built a regional cloud based on OCP. It's currently running in production in our Hamburg data center facility. We started out using only refurbished hardware from IT Renew. We have 100% green energy for those servers. And as I said, this setup helps us to well, lower the operating cost and save energy at the same time. And what we really like about the OCP approach is that there's no vendor lock-in. We know it from the software side. Since we use OpenStack, we have open APIs. They are fully documented, fully open, so there's no vendor lock-in at all. And having that on the hardware side is also very interesting for us. We standardized the whole infrastructure and the approach to deploy this. Originally, what we did is we used some custom Ansible scripting to deploy our OpenStack onto those servers. For our next iteration that we are currently in the process of building in our Berlin facility, we're shifting focus a bit, and we will not be using our own deployment framework, but rather use some OpenStack built deployment frameworks in order to, well, standardize that approach even more. As I said, we're focusing on the infrastructure and running this infrastructure, and we're working with regional partners for additional services. So we have customers leveraging this infrastructure and actually building other software services on top of that infrastructure, which is quite interesting. As I said, we started out using refurbished OCP gear. We did introduce some newly built OCP hardware into this infrastructure recently. However, what we have seen when we first wanted to do that is that it's rather difficult to source OCP hardware, at least as long as if you're not a hyperscaler. I mean, then it's possibly easier to do. But I remember last year at this global summit, I talked to all the server and hardware vendors here, and I asked them whether we could source some servers. And well, the question I was asked, well, how many thousand servers do you need? Well, I don't need thousands or 10,000s of servers. I would need a rather small amount. So it's rather difficult to source OCP hardware in general. So what we did after coming back from last year's global summit, I kept talking with a few other vendors and suppliers, and I did find some channels where we can actually source servers. We can source power, so power shelves and racks. So what we basically did is we built our own supply chain with a few partners, and this is how we actually came around building a business around this whole OCP project. So at first we were just, as I called it, OCP consumers. We were just using OCP ourselves. But with the experience we had running OCP and with building all those contacts to suppliers and vendors, people kept on asking us whether, well, we talked about it openly in our blog, and people kept contacting us and asking us whether we can help them actually source some hardware themselves. So we decided to actually build a business around this whole thing and resell OCP solutions. So basically nowadays what we do is we provide OCP services by running infrastructure as a service and bare metal services running on OCP, so people can go and just use that infrastructure in our data centers, but at the same time we're also selling OCP hardware and solutions, and we help others use OCP. So there's a few projects that we're currently working on. One is with a power grid operator in Germany, and they became very interested in using OCP. So what we did with them is we sold them a few of those small discovery racks for the first part of the project. And another project that we've been working on is with a contractor for the military, and they were interested in using some open edge servers in order to build small compute infrastructures in the field. So that's also an interesting project. So with all that, what we did is we decided to also open up an experience center in Berlin in order to, well, have a place for people to go to and actually look at all that stuff. So we are showing OCP racks, power, server, and networking equipment in that experience center in Berlin, and we just opened it last month, so not that long ago. You can see a few pictures here. It's hosted within our productive data center in Berlin, so it's not like a demo environment. It's a real data center, and we just fenced off a small part of the data center for this experience center. To give you a brief overview what we're doing there, well, first of all, we are sharing our experience with OCP and helping others to understand the concepts and benefits. And in our experience, it's just it's nice if you read about OCP, and it's good if you learn about OCP. But the best way to really experience it is to get your hands on that hardware. So that's what this experience center is for. So we have a setup of different racks. So we have the newest ORV3 rack sitting there with 48-volt technology. We have an ORV2 rack with 12-volt, and we also have a 19-inch rack, which has a conversion kit by Mytech in it, where we can show that you can also use OCP servers and OCP hardware in existing 19-inch rack infrastructure, because we have a few potential customers that approached us who have the problem that they have existing data centers where they cannot take out the existing 19-inch racks, and they would still like to use OCP hardware in those. So this is a good way to integrate OCP and all the benefits that you get from it into existing 19-inch racks. So we're working with a few partners. You can see them here, who are part of this experience center in Berlin and who donated some hardware. And the experience center is open to anyone to work with. We're also currently working with the Open Source Firmware Foundation, and they are also going to use the experience center there and use the facility to test open source firmware. So to wrap it up, my call to action is basically the same that I had last year when I talked at the Global Summit, saying that OCP needs more visibility, and that specifically means not more visibility within the hyperscalers or very large enterprises, but rather like in the mid-market and in the enterprise market, and especially in Europe and the European region, OCP needs just more visibility. So we tried to do our part by building the Experience Center and by openly talking about our experience with OCP and what we think is good about OCP. Nevertheless, I do hope that there will be even more support from the Open Compute Foundation in general, and also from others in the European region to help, bring OCP into the enterprise, because at least as we see it, there's just so many benefits in using OCP, and it would be a shame that to not use that in the mid-market enterprise market, and just the hyperscalers running OCP is not really the goal. So with that, I'm open to questions if you have any. There's one there. I can hardly see, but no. Yeah.
Hi. Thanks very much. That looks very interesting. Just on, I guess, so you've made a business out of this, obviously.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what's paying for setting up the Experience Center. I was just wondering what in terms of the costs of setting up and running the Experience Center, how does that work out?
Well, basically, I mean, we're paying for it anyhow. Sure, we're generating a little bit right now out of the business and selling OCP solutions, but nevertheless, nobody's paying our time in setting that up. So that's, but I strongly believe that it's the right thing to do. So, well, yeah, another question?
Yeah, hi. You said you ran OpenStack when you tested both OCP and non-OCP servers. Did you also look at performance between the two, like latency and other factors, or just you looked at power consumption?
Well, we looked at both, but since we used the exact same hardware, just in a different form factor, OCP versus 19-inch, we didn't expect any difference in performance, and we didn't see any performance differences. So, yeah.
Thank you.